unbelievable stories to ever come out of Silicon Valley. It's a story about massive ambition, incredible innovation, and a lie so huge it was eventually valued at $9 billion. Yep, we're diving into the story of Theranos. Everything kicked off with this brilliant, really seductive promise. What if? What if you could completely revolutionize healthcare? Imagine a single, small machine that could diagnose hundreds of diseases, all from just one tiny drop of blood. But here's the thing. This amazing, world-changing technology, it had one tiny little flaw. It wasn't real. The whole thing was an illusion, a masterfully crafted deception that managed to fool some of the smartest, most powerful people on the planet. Okay, to really get why everyone bought into this, you have to understand just how brilliant the promise was. It all revolved around a truly visionary founder and an idea that honestly sounded almost too good to be true. So, what was the big idea? Well, Theranos claimed its technology could make those awful, painful blood draws completely obsolete. Just think about it. Hundreds of crucial tests, all from a single finger prick. This wasn't just a small step forward. This was supposed to be the democratization of healthcare itself. And right at the very center of it all was the founder, Elizabeth Holmes. She was young, incredibly ambitious, and just radiated this aura of absolute confidence. She built this persona so effectively that people were constantly comparing her to the greatest tech visionaries of our time. You see, people weren't just investing in an idea, they were investing in her. And that belief, boy, was it powerful. It was fueled by an unbelievable amount of hype, and it turned Theranos into an absolute superstar startup. Let's take a look at just how big this dream really got. $9 billion. Just let that sink in for a second. That's what some of the savviest investors in the world decided Theranos was worth at its absolute peak. This company was more than just a success story. It was a phenomenon, backed by huge names who were terrified of missing out on the next big thing. And that comparison, it became the official narrative. It wasn't just some random comment. She was seriously hailed as the next Steve Jobs. The black turtleneck, the deep, commanding voice, the constant talk of changing the world. It was all part of this perfect image that everyone, from Silicon Valley to the media, desperately wanted to believe was real. But, behind that $9 billion price tag, behind all the magazine covers and the star-studded board of directors, there was a secret. A huge secret that, if it ever got out, would bring the entire empire crashing down in an instant. And this is where you see the massive gulf between the promise and the reality. Publicly, they were selling this incredible future of instant, easy diagnostics. But behind the scenes, those revolutionary machines were a complete disaster, giving results that were unreliable, inaccurate, and sometimes just flat out wrong. The core technology, the whole basis for the company, simply did not work. So how in the world do you keep a multi-billion-dollar company afloat when your core tech is a fantasy? Well, you cover it up. The company faked reports for investors, they literally hid their failing machines from regulators, and get this, they secretly ran patient blood samples on regular, commercially available equipment, the very same technology they claimed they were making obsolete. But you can only maintain a lie of that size for so long. Eventually, the cracks started to appear. And what followed was the complete and total unraveling of one of the biggest frauds in modern history. And when the end came, it came fast. In 2015, a whistleblower finally had enough and spoke up. That got investigative journalists digging. And once the story blew up on the front page of the Wall Street Journal, the dominoes just fell one after another. Partners bailed, investors ran for the hills, and by 2018, that $9 billion dream was officially over. And the fallout went way beyond just a failed company. Those inaccurate tests, they put real patients in real danger. The US government got involved, Elizabeth Holmes was charged with massive fraud, and after a very long trial, she was found guilty. So why do we still talk about this? Because this wasn't just your average startup failure. No, this was a huge, blinking warning sign about how seductive a good story can be and the incredibly dangerous line between having a vision and committing a deception. If there's one core lesson to take from the whole Theranos saga, it's this, and it's a bit chilling. In the world of high-stakes innovation, a compelling story can actually become more powerful than the truth itself. And as this all proved, sometimes belief just isn't enough.
When you boil it all down, the Theranos story was way more than just a business case study. It was this epic collision of immense power, unchecked greed, and a complete disregard for the truth. And it all happened with people's health hanging in the balance.
Which really leaves us with a critical question, one that's more relevant now than ever. In a world that's always full of big, bold promises, after seeing just how easily the world was fooled by a great story, how do we learn to tell the difference between a true visionary and the next great